The question was asking the difference between the information security and the control that can be applied on top of an information system. Actually, it has a type of the word. Regardless, the controls we said that they are the list of policies, politics set, managerial politics set by the governance department within an organization to make the business run. Those are the controls, the application of those politics, no more, no less. Digital security, no, they are concerned, they are technical approaches to avail with the best behavior to deliver the services, to avoid the data theft, the exposure of the private content, to avail with the information assurance in terms of guaranteeing data to be available and the best process to provide the information out of the data. So those are two different definitions. We cannot compare to put a table based on those two terms. Yet we can define each. So the controls are the implementation of the politics. Full stop. The digital security concerns the technical approaches to make the business run, to deliver the services. Business run means there will be no interception, no interruption, no risks to happen to avoid the business delivery. As simple as that. Any doubt? Any questions? Saeed, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So I keep going on. Unless you have any questions, if you face any point that you need me to re-explain it, just raise it up, please. Delivering a service, remember that we need a platform to work on, and the security through the architecture we drawn as per the initial view yesterday. It was discussing that the service is run in an environment where interception might happen. See the graph in front of us now. We have a business that has to be actually protected somehow. This is the work environment. This is the corporate system. This is where the data is. This is where the processing unit or the information system is. And from here, the outcome would be outcome to whom? To the client, the one who requested. Simple. All the security measures has to be set on here. So this cut line here, if you can see, it is the security parameter. It is here where to apply the control or where to set the security design against all the security issues, risks and threats. All of them, they are question of being protected. The challenges to implement such a diagram are numerous. They are not easy steps to just 1, 2, 3, and that's it. You did that. No. Starting from the challenge, you have to recognize the platform, how the service would be actually delivered to the end user. Recognize the computer network you are using to, because the services here in the digital context, they are to be delivered remotely, remember. So challenges are numerous. The vulnerabilities and the abuse that we can survive, or that the company can survive during the business delivery, they are numerous. Starting by recognizing the platforms themselves until the complete design of the security design or whatever. So the platforms responsible for the delivery of the service, they are not new to us. We are familiar with that. We defined numerous of them actually. So we define from them a long list that you can trust your understanding. The internet is not new to us. When you say the internet vulnerability or the internet vulnerabilities in plural, well, there are definitions that you have already. If I ask you what is the internet, you'll define the physical and the WW environment. Here, first of all, before digging in the definition of the internet vulnerabilities, remember that it is a simple computer network. So the concerns of all the computer networks, all the security measures that have to be set on top of the computer networks has to be still there. It's not still they are actually applicable and they are valid when we discuss the internet vulnerabilities. Okay, the internet vulnerabilities they come from the common measurements, the common network issues. Okay, this is good. The abuse or whatever the misconduct of service delivery on the networks, computer networks, still is valid when you talk about the internet as a platform to deliver the services. Internet is to be utilized in computer network, yes, but it needs a specific logical paths to deliver the signal or whatever to differentiate the internet from the regular computer network. The digital subscriber line (DSL) is one of the very famous channels via which the internet services are being carried out. The DSL, digital subscriber line, is one of the very famous channels that the internet uses to deliver its services or to carry out its services. Not only, but this is one of the very famous. So this technique or this technology enhancing the run of services on top of the internet is very famous. Thus, it is exposed. Thus, it is a question of being attacked and causing vulnerabilities. Since it is recognized by the public, thus it can be a question of attack. It is not something new or hidden or obscure to say that it is isolated, thus secured. No, it is not the case. From the issues also that can be, that it's not can be, that it is a cause and a vulnerable access point to services if they are utilized, if this technology is used to deliver the services, is the VoIP over IP, the voice over IP, which is originally not encrypted and originally is exposed as content delivered with a plain text, and any single interception will expose all the content, the VoIP, all the communications that happen on top of the use of the VoIP. They are not secured completely. Originally, they are not secured because the technology here, the VoIP, the protocol, the service, this network service called VoIP, originally it is designed to deliver a service, not to secure the service. It is like that. The technology says this. So it is a vulnerable content because non-secured content is here, as per this example, it is presented in clear text, in clear voice. Any interception would expose the full content without any effort. The least interception that happen on top of the channel where this service is running will expose all. Thus, this service or this kind of let's say a protocol has to be secured somehow. There have to be security channels. Not only those, actually, the services, they are numerous. The services that they actually to be utilized on the computer network, and specifically when using the internet as a platform to deliver services. I'll just discuss one of them, which is the peer-to-peer, the post-to-post, the, let's say, point-to-point. Mainly, technically we say peer-to-peer services. which are a sort of a kind of a service to deliver services from point to point directly over the internet. We know that there is no channel to pass directly from a point to another in the internet, since everything is through the internet service provider. Yet, when we talk about the P2P service, no, the question or the matter is different. It's completely different here. We are delivering services from point to point directly, even though it is through the internet. Why? Because logically it is set like that, not physically. Physically, it is through the internet, the ISP, the internet service provider. Yet, when we talk about the logical aspect, it is seen as a point to point service. There will be no intermediate control. There is no intermediate security layer or filter to check up what is being communicated in such a channel or panel. Yes, we can take the example of the torrents. We can take the example of the online gaming. All of them, they are examples of peer-to-peer applications or services delivered over the internet. And such a solution or such a group of solutions, they impose a big risk on top of the towards the users mainly, because everything is shared directly. So if a malware, whatever the malware category is sent by an individual, directly it will be received by the receiver. So the sender is the malware generator, the attacker. The receiver will receive immediately the malware, will not receive any security alert from the intermediate devices because there is no intermediate devices. P2P. Sarah, is it clear? Okay. So here it's a matter of common sense understanding to make you decide whether the service over the internet is vulnerable or not. Based on this conclusion, on what we defined so far, the vulnerabilities of the internet services, they are common sense. And by defining the technology you are in question, you are tackling, you'll define at the same time whether that service is vulnerable or not. In the same context, the remote services and the context of computer networks, but in a wirelessly set design, let's say design, wireless architecture. Technologies are different, but the services still, we are delivering remote services. Services are different, thus vulnerabilities are different and abuse would be different. Techniques to apply such an approach, which is the vulnerability, let's say exploitation, would be different. In plural, vulnerabilities, exploitation is different. What does it mean? It means to search for an access point in a wireless network is not the same scenario to search for an access point on a connection-based network or platform. It's not the same. Why? Because the protocols used to carry out services, they are not the same. Methodologies to get accessed or to gain access is not the same. It is not a matter of a button to click to say, yes, I succeeded. Here I reach. No, it's not. It's not completely. Here we are defining the technology. We have to know and we have to identify the methodologies. So for the context of the wireless networks, you have to identify what networks are available, or what networks in plural are available to expose or to exploit. So you have to identify the physical devices, then after the logical networks, which are the network names, the services identifiers, the services set identifiers, the SSIDs. In addition to that, you have to see and you have to explore one of the techniques available to see if this wireless network is vulnerable or not. Because if it's available, does not mean that you can access, that you get access. No, the network is available. Maybe you get it, but does not mean that you'll be able to gain access to the network through this wireless network. Wall driving is one of the techniques that everybody do. I tell you what, if you use your mobile in let's say in a wall market, for example, Carrefour or Lulo or whatever, you are searching for a wireless signal. If the place is not declaring that you have literally said, if not declaring that you are having the right to use the Wi-Fi and clearly stating this phrase or something similar, so you are doing something called wall driving. You are driving your device to make a fight and search for wireless signals, which you are not allowed to do. You are not allowed to do. And anybody does that, he's not allowed to do. And this behavior is named wall driving. Simple. Because this wall driving, and as per the word literally said, it is a war. Immediately from the first view, it can lead you to expose details of the available networks, which is not allowed. It's not permitted. The least information is to know the name, to know the range, to know the position, the access point name, the access point even MAC address. You can know that. Those are periculous details that you are not allowed to touch even. So even trying to search for Wi-Fi networks, it's a problem. So thus wireless networks, they are exposed and they are vulnerable even if they are not given access to strangers. They are vulnerable even if they are not given access to strangers. You see what I'm saying? Even if you are not given access to the strangers, they are vulnerable still. Can you prove that, please? Muhammad, did you came in? Okay, I'll keep going on. An interception that that might happen when we talk about a wireless network is to be done by a man in the middle, or an intruder. An intruder. See the graph here in front of us. This is an intruder. This is actually the attacker who is doing the attack. What he will do, he will just try to capture all the happening flow, all the happening communications here, in between the sender and the receiver. The sender is the computer, and the receiver is the access point here, the wireless access point. So all the communications happen between this device, the legitimate device, and the wireless access point would be captured by this intruder. So we talk about a man in the middle attack, and he's doing what? He is sniffing the communication. He is sniffing communication using what? Using a sniffer program. The sniffing happened here or is happening here is done using a sniffer program. It's a protocol analyzer or something similar to analyze what is happening there. This is a kind of a static attack to only expose the content. This is the sort of, you are searching for wireless networks. You are doing the same thing. You are doing the same thing. Means you can be playing the role of this intruder here. You can be yourself here. While you are searching for the networks, you are doing the same scenario. You are just capturing packets being sent or advertisement messages being sent by the access point, the router, for example. Advertisement messages. Remember, advertisement messages. They are messages to be sent by the access point, direction the available network devices to say that they are still alive and still connected. Any questions so far, please? Are you with me? Are you available here, please?
Yes.
Okay. Malicious software is classified into groups based on the payload to be executed. So here we come to a direct definition of the malware that services to deliver online or remotely they can face. The malicious software. The malware in general, malware. We classify them into groups or into types based on the payload to do or to execute, because every and each single malware do have a payload to execute. They have a target to reach, and the target is based on the payload to execute. To hack a computer, to control a computer, to compromise a computer, to thieve data, to send, to share, whatever the thing is, it is based on the payload. The payload is the program that the malware is intended to do. Full stop. Is the program that the malware is intended to do. To hide and conceal data, to thieve and delete content, to search for profit, all of those kinds of behaviors that malware will do or will seek to do. First group or first type of a malware is the virus. It's the very famous word, the very famous type, the virus or the viruses. Those are computer programs that they do have the intention to hack an environment by either concealing, hiding, or deleting the content. And they need an action from the doer to execute. They cannot travel by themselves into or within the network or within the environment, yet they can attach themselves into a resource, into a file, into an attachment in an email or something like that. The worms still they are still malware. They can infect an environment, those ones. They are not like the virus. They can infect an environment, a computer or a full network, and they have a payload to execute also the same scenario. What's the difference? The difference is that they are done to infect an environment, not to infect a computer. The environment means the full network where the computer is. If your computer and a network, let's take the example of the room 81, for example, 8 room, our lab room. If one of the computers holds a worm, all the other computers will get a copy. Whatever the kind of the malware, whatever the kind of the malware is, there have to be a way how to spread it. For example, you as a student, you created a malware. How you are going to share it in between all the computers to hack everybody, for example? How to hack a given computer, how to do? You have to spread your malware, your virus, or your worm. You have to send it and to share it with the victim. How to do so? There are so many scenarios that lead malware to be available. So you may download a resource, and the resource is having inside an injected malware. You may use an instant message on a platform to chat or something like that. And this instant messaging, by default, they are not secured. We have the notes in our here. Actually, instant messaging, they are generally not secured because the live communication, if it is secured, it will need time to be filtered in inflow and in outflow. So time is doubled to send the media using the instant messaging applications. Using web services or websites or social media or something like that. All of them, they are platforms where a resource might be actually shared. And the resource here is the malware itself. Okay. The wireless network, the wire-based network, and the malware, they are not specific to computers only, but still we may talk about dedicated devices, the personal digital assistants, PDAs, or the smart mobiles, or any other mobile device is considered actually one of the platforms, IT infrastructure elements that is a question of being attacked. The number of actually the category, the type of them, let's say here the mobile devices, they are as per the date of the book. They are not the least methodology, the least number available today. Other kind of malware, the Trojan horses, they are sorts of malware, still computer programs, they have a payload to execute, but they appear to you in the original state. After a while, they have to feel comfortable, they have to know you in order to let you access the resource. Another category, the ransomware, which is a software to a computer program to hack a device, to compromise it, and ask for payment, an exchange, in order to let everybody out. Spyware is another sort of computer program that can cause a static attack to make a news drop, to spy on you, to know what you are visiting, what are the programs you are using, browsers you are using, operating system. If you do any kind of typo, it might record your typing and send it to a remote destination. The spyware يتجسس عليك. Spyware ده تجسس. There are categories. Either we talk about the key loggers, whatever you type on the keyboard is being saved and sent remotely. Key loggers, they are category of the spyware. Or adware, advertisement solutions, they are also used as spyware somehow. Okay, great. I'm going to stop at this level. If you have any questions you may raise, I'm going to share the link with you just now.